From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible details about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 as Jalapal speaks out for the first time in several days about the fourth stimulus process. It's all wonderful news. The vote is set. The president announced the vote is set for the reconciliation to start next week. So we'll be going over in this recording how much the Democrats want you to have in that fourth stimulus check, how much is at issue, and how many monthly stimulus checks are we talking about. Then the second half of this video, we go to fifth stimulus, and Jerome Powell has spoken. He has appeared on Capitol Hill, and I have his comments that impact your fifth stimulus, that raises your benefits up a lifetime, applies that benchmark of inflation, and also gives you another stimulus check under the fifth stimulus package. Yes, it is wonderful news. Then the middle of this video, we go over the big money you can get right now. Thousands of dollars. Viewers are getting it every single day. It's your chance to get it right today as well. It's a big day. It's a big afternoon. Let's get to the details, starting right now on Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? How's the weather where you are? It finally has cooled down here in Southern California. I had said yesterday, if you hit the like button, the heat wave will go away and will wave itself away. It worked. The heat wave is finally breaking. I hope the weather is good to where you are. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how is the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021 on Afternoons LA today, we'll be going over the breaking news as Jalapal speaks out about the reconciliation process. Other Democrats speak out as well, and the president calls the vote. We'll be going over how much those Democrats want to give you of the fourth stimulus check in the fourth stimulus package, that monthly stimulus check, and all the incredible great news. Then, in the second half of this video, we turn to fifth stimulus. That'll have another stimulus check in there, and will also raise your benefits. But Jerome Powell has now spoken, your head of the Federal Reserve, and we now know more about that interest rate and that inflationary rate at issue for fifth stimulus. It's wonderful news. Then in the middle of this video, we go over the big thousands of dollars you can get right now. Viewers continue to get it. Today's your chance to get it as well. And so let's do it. This is LALATE, the only 24 hours a day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. I'm next back with you with Evenings LALATE in 2 hours from now. It is going to be a big broadcast. Stay with this video. When it's over, it'll send you automatically to that show. Then after that is Overnight's Crypto, our new hit show, 15 hours of programming. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers in 1 year, a YouTube record. Next stop, 1 million. Hit that subscribe button right now. Also, like this video. It'll help the heat wave go away. It also help the algorithm rankings. And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check from the House and the Senate Democrats. Let's compare and contrast what you need to know starting right now. The House Democrats monthly stimulus check. Remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. Senators July to December. Let's compare the monthly payouts then between House Democrat bill and Senate proposal. $2,000 first month, $1,000 thereafter, House bill. Senate proposal. The amount on a monthly basis is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. OMG. This is reportedly what Senate Democrats want to pay you. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, $8,400. Now let's go back to this provision. Pandemic plus 1 year House bill. While some legislative insiders contend the pandemic may be viewed over, that would reduce the House bill to 1 year stimulus checks, 12 months, which would be $13,000 under the House bill over 12 months. Let's compare that now to the Senate proposal over 6 months. I think you have an opinion. Jump into the live chat right now and vote, House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. House or Senate, which one do you like? And tell me where you're tuning in from. I think you have an opinion. I want to see it right now. Let's go over everything else you need to know about that forced stimulus check in this extended afternoon's LA broadcast. I got a lot of stuff, so stay to the very end. A lot of breaking news today. First, who gets the forced stimulus check? You do. If you got a third stimulus check, the Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you get a fourth stimulus check from the Democrats. A married couple, $150,000 or less, the Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, double it. Household 4 or less, the Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, the Democrats would give you a fourth stimulus check, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, and survivor benefits. Yes, congratulations. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would come monthly. It would not come in waves. So do not try to wave at the check. The check will not wave back at you. And you will think it's a rude check and it's rejecting you. Hi, check. Didn't wave back at me. How rude are you? That darn rude check. I'm going to like the button. Get you out of here, you rude check. That's your root check update for today. So the fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for adult dependents, minor dependents, and everyone else the Democrats propose. And then the Democrats want that fourth stimulus check to go to a final vote by July 4th. That means that those Democrats would be giving you the first check for the month of July, in the month of July, in the month of August, for the month of August. And there you go. That is your first of 3 parts of your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 in this extended afternoon's LA broadcast today. Coming up in the second part, we'll be going over the president now calling the vote, saying the vote is now set. I'll go over when the vote will be happening. I'll go over the breaking news from Jalapal. As Jalapal speaks out about the whole process, I have Jalapal's comments from Washington, head of the Progressive Caucus. And then I also have Senator Brian Schatz's comments, Democrat out of Hawaii, also speaking about what the White House is doing with progressives who want you to have that monthly stimulus check. It's all breaking, and it's in the second half of this video. In the third part of this video, we'll be going over the steps that you should anticipate for next week. Really exciting news. But first, let's get a preview of the second half of this video, which is fifth stimulus. And the fifth stimulus got a major update yesterday. His name, Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve. Jay Powell spoke on Capitol Hill and told us his latest update about inflation rates, and it's huge for understanding where inflation will be this fall. I have all the incredible details as fifth stimulus heats up by raising your benefits up lifetime and gives you another stimulus check. That's coming up in the second half of this video. But let's get some money. Let's get some moolah. If you're new to this channel, that's what I do. This is not a tracking check channel or a stimulus psychic network. I'm here to get you money, and I've gotten people fortunes of money. It's now to your time to get money today. So get a pen and paper ready. Or if it's a Crayola crown, congratulations, I'm wearing Crayola blue. So it's all working right so far today. Get that pen and paper Crayola blue ready, because we're going to get some money. Stay with me to the very end, and we're going to go over first rent, utilities, mortgages, and homeowners' utilities. What's important to understand is that each place has different eligibilities. So if one says no, don't worry, reach out to the next. I'm going to give you different locations. And we're starting with that rent. It's a lot of money. It's about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. So let's get it. Ready? With that pen and paper, here we go. You're going to reach out to City Hall, City Housing Authority, County Hall, County Housing Authority, State Hall, State Housing Authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID. You're not going to say words that they don't know. So don't say words like stimulus or Mitch's karaoke party. They don't know those words. Mitch's karaoke party? I wasn't invited. How rude are you, Check? You didn't invite me to that either. Yeah. They don't know about Mitch's karaoke party, so don't mention that to them. That's sort of our secret. So there you go. About $5,000 for rent. 4 to 6 months of rent. Incredible. Tim and Linda got it, and congratulations to all the viewers that get money for this channel. If you got a penny or 100,000 pennies, trust me, I've gotten viewers 100,000 pennies for this channel as well. Drop in the comments right now what you got, because inspires me, inspires someone else. The next pot of money, I got inspired because this week someone got $5,000 from it. Last week, someone got $6,000 to $7,000 from it. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, for her son, and her mom. Gail got it, and what is it? It's SNAP. SNAP is wonderful. It is money for food from Department of Agriculture. Go get it. You reach out to Department of Agriculture to get it. It is wonderful. A family of four out of Hawaii gets now upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of two executive orders, one from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. And we're killing it. You're killing it. $16,000 for SNAP. $5,000 for rent, and we are only 10 minutes of this video. Well, I got more money for you right now, and it's coming back from your state. Yes, your state. The federal government has identified states as overpaying you unemployment assistance and then asking you to return it back because they had a computer error. Yeah, that darn Windows 98. Never upgraded it, did you? So the federal government has stepped in and said, nope. That was your money to keep, citizens. The state should not have asked you to return the money. So the states have been asked to return the money, ordered to return the money back to you. One viewer got $5,000 of this. Congratulations to him. So how are you getting it? Directly to the account you have on file with the Department of Unemployment. Next, can you track it? Yes, call up your state unemployment's office and tell them to track your payment. And ask them, does a computer work while they're tracking that? Probably doesn't. There you go. Well, the next pot of money is wonderful. And Margaret got it. Cod got it. A lot of viewers daily are getting it. Michael got it 2 days ago. What is it? It's the wonderful money coming back from IRS that you pay taxes on of your 2020 unemployment assistance. Let's go over how much that is, when you're getting it, how to track it, and where it's going to land. First, how much? Let's say you had $9,000 of total unemployment assistance and you paid a $5,000 total tax bill on it. Excuse me, you paid a total tax bill $5,000, of which $4,000 was your taxes on the unemployment assistance. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Either on direct deposit, if that's what was on your return, or in the mail. When? Month of June. Can you track it? Yes. Go to irs.gov, set up a username and password. Go in there, and 70% of the time it works. You can track your income, your income tax return that you filed, the taxes you paid, and the refund check coming back. Congratulations. That is wonderful news. Can we top that wonderful news? We can, with the second of your third update of forced stimulus check of 2021 today. Let's start with Jalapal. Breaking news today, Jalapal speaks out and basically is asked, what's the update? Jalapal's update is, well, I have not heard anything from the president to stop what I'm doing, so I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. I love that. What is the significance of that sentence? There's a series of quotes out today that ask progressives who have some of the most aggressive parts of the forced stimulus package bill, which I don't really go over, like climate and other things, whether they should back off, whether they should calm down, whether they should take off the heat. And they've been told, reportedly, nothing. That they should, leaving them to believe they should keep the heat on. And Jalapal's comment, this now is, not in any way has anyone told us not to do what we're doing. That's a nice double negative. The White House has not told us to not do what we're doing. Love that. Now, Brian Schatz, a Democrat out of Hawaii, who is I guess you would put him in as a progressive, says the White House has repeatedly reassured him that they consider, the White House, the progressive priorities their own priorities in the forced stimulus, and that the White House has not asked the progressives to back off anything in their vocal fight to get every penny they want into the forced stimulus. This is huge. This is really huge. You have seen these questions over the last 7 months, whether it was third stimulus or fourth stimulus. Does the president want to align more with what progressives want, or does he want to go to more the centralists? You understand that the progressives want you to have a monthly stimulus check, whether they are senators or House members. These progressives have reportedly been told the president is completely aligned with them. And here's something you're going to hear for the first time from me ever on this channel. The progressives' parts of the forced stimulus package not only are the stimulus check, but also the issue of some of the items like the CARES economy, which is helping the elderly and the seniors and medical systems, not CARES Act, but CARES economy, and also helping certain issues like climate. Those are issues that moderate Democrats, the president, fears would try to take out of forced stimulus. So ironically, the items that the president really wants to have in the forced stimulus, a lot, like climate and cares, are progressive ideas. And so because they're fighting for him for what he wants, he's giving them the backup for what they also want. Stimulus checks. There you go. This is the first time I explained that analysis because it's very important to understand how this is really playing out. Now, how about calling the vote? Calling the vote. So the president said, call the vote. We're calling the vote next week. I am tired of hearing about quote unquote bipartisan or negotiations. We're done with this. It hasn't formulated anything. We're calling the vote next week. Reconciliation. He's cracking the whip. And this came after the president was overseas. As you now see more than over the last 24 hours, the president was relatively irate or tense in some of the questionings on the tarmac in Geneva, Switzerland, or in England, when he got questions about Mitch, or he got questions about Putin, or he got questions about anything. And he said, just call the vote. I'm tired of hearing about it. I love it. Should have given him some more salted peanuts on that flight over. No, maybe not. Maybe the lack of the peanuts is why he got a little bit more crack the whip. So here we go. I love it. How did we get to this point where the president is really sort of getting behind the wheel of that pickup truck and driving over the finish line? We got there when Leader Schumer wrote that wonderful letter, said that wonderful statement the Friday before Memorial Day weekend. He said there are three things underway. Number one, the reconciliation process is underway at that time and still underway. Number two, it will finish on July 4th. And number three, it'll go to a final vote by July 4th. Well, how did we get to that point? Jalopal again. So Jalopal had written Schumer a letter, say, call the vote for the recon, Chuck. What are we waiting around for? I just love how Jalopal just sort of jabs, and it just worked. And that's what we're doing now. We're calling the vote, and the president say, stop it, call the vote. You hear that? That's the whip. That's the whip cracking. Yeah, there you go. So Jalopal's letter was written, it was signed by 12 House Democrats. They're among the 100 plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier, said, we're going to put monthly stimulus checks into the forced stimulus package. Wow. That is wonderful. Can we top that? We can top that. About 7 days ago, 7 House Democrats wrote the president directly a letter saying, Mr. President, when we write the forced stimulus check, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the language we're writing. Who are these people to say that? What do they write? What do they do? They're on the House subcommittee that's solely and exclusively responsible for writing stimulus check legislation in the United States Congress. Wow. Did they write our first stimulus check? They did. Did they write the second? They did. Did they write the third? They did write the third stimulus check. So they're saying now they're writing the fourth stimulus check? Yes. And they say they're also going to be writing the fifth stimulus check. OMG. That's coming up in the second half of this video. Wow. Now that is wonderful news. Can we top that news? We can. As the president has done it, Biden has done it not once but twice. First cracking the whip saying call the vote next week, but also getting a major international agreement in the wraps, under wraps now, not in December, that anchors forced stimulus right to the edge of the finish line and makes it easier to pass forced stimulus because the provisions are no longer needed. They're in the international agreement. Let's go over what that is and how we got there. It started on a recent Tuesday ago when I said there was something complicated the president was doing, and I needed to slow it down, make it easy and breezy for you by talking a little bit slower. And let's do that right now. Forced stimulus is paid for by raising the U.S. corporate tax rate. U.S. corporate tax rate is tax rate for corporations paying taxes in the United States. Well, the president had said at the time he was worried that if you raise the U.S. corporate tax rate, U.S. corporations may move overseas to find a lower corporate tax rate. Pretty simple. So what did he do? He reached out to foreign countries, said, let's raise the global minimum corporate tax rate. So businesses will be less economically benefited to moving overseas. They'll stay where they are because it won't save them any money moving overseas. Those countries agreed tentatively. And then the president went back to his insiders and said, I like this. You know what we'll do? After forced stimulus is passed, like in November, December, we'll come back and get those G7 countries to sign on the dotted line. And if they do, then we'll remove the provisions of forced stimulus we no longer need for corporate tax rate. Well, he surprised everyone and surprised me. Well, I tipped you off when I heard the news of it breaking a week earlier. But there he did it. Biden did it. Last Saturday, he shocked everyone by going overseas on his first international trip as president and having the G7 countries sign into law now that provision that he was going to wait to have it done in November, December. getting it signed before fourth stimulus so that he anchors it to the finish line for stimulus by raising the global minimum corporate tax rate to 15%. It is now international law. And now he can remove the provisions of corporate tax rates from fourth stimulus that he no longer needs because it's covered in the international agreement. Wow, now that is wonderful news. That and calling the vote next week and Jalopal saying all our priorities, the progressive wing, are on tap. The president has our backing. We have his backing. We're heading to the finish line. It's getting wonderful. And it's getting even more wonderful with the volunteers. If you need help with rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and also homeowners assistance, reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page and they can help you get that money if you could not find it. They're at news.la.com/community. Open the description of this video, go down till you find an emoji of a house, click that emoji, and it sends you over to the volunteers page, the community page of LALATE.com. There's a picture of some cats. That's not the volunteers. That's just cats. Lower on the page are the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Reach out to them and they'll help you get that money for rent, utilities, SNAP, and internet if you can't find it. Meantime, coming up in the second half of this video, big exciting news still in our third part of the fourth stimulus check update. Huge update about fifth stimulus as Jerome Powell, Jay Powell, speaks, your head of the Federal Reserve, about interest rates. This is huge for raising your benefits, and it's big for the fifth stimulus check. I have all those details coming up right after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on an extended, huge, wonderful afternoons LALATE. Direct from Santa Monica, how are you? Boy, what a big day it is as fourth stimulus heats up in our third of 3 parts coming up right now. I'll be going over what's happening with the vote next week and everything you need to know about this fourth stimulus check, when, where, and how. Then we'll be cutting to fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up a lifetime and has an additional benchmark and a new stimulus check. But first, subscribe. This is LA, the only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Hit that subscribe button right now. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. Next stop, 1 million. I want you part of this family. Stay with this video. When it's over, it'll automatically take you to Evenings LA up next at 5 o'clock. It has a lot of breaking news today, so I don't want you to miss that video. And like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into fifth stimulus. Boy, there's a lot of breaking news for fifth stimulus. Let's first go over the stimulus check. Yes, those House Democrats represent that there will be a fifth stimulus check. When? Likely in 2022. The legislation of that you would first see worked up in September, out for a vote by October or November, and likely law in November, but the check starting in January, not in any way overlapping with fourth stimulus, which they likely think runs this year. Fifth stimulus checks running next year. Second element of breaking news is that the federal chair, Jay Powell, appeared before Congress yesterday and surprised a lot of people by saying there will be 2 interest rate hikes, not this year, not next year, but the year after that. Wonderful news for you, because that signals that the federal chair believes the economy needs to be fully rebounded until he starts easing his stimulus. Well, that's more reasons to pass for stimulus. The Federal Reserve thinks we're not fully rebounding. The day started, as you know, it's Thursday morning, with the new jobless numbers coming in. And the number actually went up. Really surprising. New jobless claims went up, signaling again we need more stimulus. Where did the spike come out of? 2 states, one of them, shockingly, California. Even though California has now reopened completely back for business, it showed a growth of new jobless claims. These are not people who were on jobless claims before. These are new jobless claims. Really surprising. Third, the CPI and this PPI, which the Consumer Price Index and the Producer Price Index numbers have been released in the last 7 days. And Wall Street is still reacting to that and Jerome Powell's news and basically saying the inflation rate right now is about 4%. It's a lot higher than we thought, and it's likely to reach 10% during a transitory or temporary spike later this year. So we're going up, and the inflation rate's going to keep on going until we hit that spike. When we hit that spike, you have to hope it's November, December for purposes of your fifth stimulus benefits lift. Let's go over why that's important, starting right now with the analysis. Under fifth stimulus, let's first broadly understand what they're doing. They're going to raise your benefits limits up, remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. All right, let's go over how this works. First, they'll raise your benefits up one time. That's you if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, multiple benefits. Then they'll apply the benchmark of inflation. The benchmark is to determine how much they should raise your benefits the next year. They apply the benchmark every November, December for the next year. Well, here's what you need to know, is the benchmark lifts you up or keeps you the same. It never steps you down. So the new benchmark would be inflation. It's currently COLA. And as inflation is going up from 4% potentially to 10%, you want to hope it hits that point, that peak, that real mountain high right when they apply the benchmark, because this is what would happen. It would raise your benefits up not just 10% next year, potentially, but 10% lifetime. Because once the benefit benchmark kicks in, it raises you up not just for 1 year, but a lifetime. It's wonderful news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't work and you can't stay on benefits and have more than $3,000 in hand. Just in time to get those hands clear to put some stimulus checks in there. They're going to get rid of the income cap that dates back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. Now you'll be able to work if you want. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. It's a horrible provision. It prevents you from getting married for fear of loss of benefits or penalizes you if you are married. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will now be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. That's fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus check. Fifth stimulus raising up of your benefits. But guess what? There's a lot of other money in the fifth stimulus, like hazard pay, like money for seniors, like money for single individuals. And in a given 30-minute video, I don't have enough time to go over it. But if you're watching and looking at the live chat right now and noticing people with an emoji of a purple hawk next to their name, they're members. And what do members get? They get sent from me daily, personally written and posted to the YouTube community page and sent to their email box, a breakdown of all the money for them in third stimulus law and proposed under fourth and fifth stimulus. And it's thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. Most of the money in third stimulus is application-based, not automatic. So it's important for you to know the money you can get, and it's thousands of dollars. And viewers daily are getting that money. So consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment, so you get a breakdown sent to you daily of everything that's in third stimulus for the thousands of dollars you may qualify for, and everything that's in fourth and fifth stimulus as well. Let's cut back now to the third of our third part update about fourth stimulus. There's a lot of new things breaking today. You certainly heard about Jalapal's comments. You heard about Schatz's comments. There is also some other fringe things that you sort of need to know about fourth stimulus. One of the reasons that they are not doing bipartisan support, bipartisan passage of fourth stimulus among many other reasons, is that they think that even if they had a few Republicans on board, that ultimately they would, the fringe Republicans that would not support it would filibuster it. It's important to understand that the filibuster is not an issue when there's a recon. So nothing could hold it up when it's a recon. Additionally, the president, when he was overseas, was certainly warned of chatter from a handful of GOP leaders right when he's trying to get this forced stimulus done by recon, that those GOP leaders said they're vowing to do all efforts to make this a one-term president. So there's a lot of angst building up, a lot of tensions building up. And ironically, today the president signed into law the first new federal holiday in nearly since the 1980s, since Ronald Reagan. And that actually got GOP opposition from it. So there's a lot of built-up items at the moment. In this third forced stimulus check update of 2021, let me go over personal impressions. Then I'm going to be going over routing times. I'm going to be going over fake narratives, which are really quite important today because of something that's developing. And then finally, purple power push. Let me go over first my impressions. My impressions are you're doing a really good job. You have really turned the tide. You are really pushing well on social media. And you need to keep it up. You're doing an excellent job. I would absolutely tag more progressive Democrats than you're tagging. So tag more progressive Democrats. Second, you've also learned that this is not the stimulus psychic network. And nowhere should you engage in the stimulus psychic readings of the situation. Stimulus psychic means you're saying, I predict, I think, I wonder, he thinks, I think, you think. No, because legislators are fluid. They can have something, they are currently marking up the legislation. They're currently confirming they're marking up the legislation. What does marking up the legislation mean? They have a draft of it and they have a pen and paper in their hand. Guess what? One side of the pen has ink, the other side of the pen has an eraser. So they can erase something that you want in there at any heartbeat, and they could certainly add something in there with a pen at any heartbeat that you want to have added. So it's a very fluid situation. So your efforts are very, very important. They're very important because now we know that the reconciliation first step voting starts early next week. We'd always know it would be done by July 4th, but viewers are always asking when it would start. It's important for you to know that while I'm going to go over these 9 steps with you right now, they can do more than 1 step per day. Absolutely. So let's go over the 9 steps. The first half are procedural, the second half are substantive. Steps 5, 7, and 8 are the most important ones for you to pay attention to. Step 1, the procedural bill is called for a vote in the House subcommittee. Step 2, the House floor votes on the procedural bill. Step 3, the Senate votes on the procedural bill. Step 4, the President signs the procedural bill into law. At that point, the procedural bill is passed. Time now to go back and get the tow hitch to add to that tow truck, which just passed over the finish line. The tow hitch, the substantive bill. Step 5, here we go, the House subcommittee. That House subcommittee that is currently marking up the bill, that has vowed to put the monthly stimulus checks in there, that is where they would do it if they want to do it. Step 6, the House votes on the substantive bill. Step 7 and 8, here we go, very critical, the 2-day vote-a-rama. This is the only thing that really has to be done in more than 1 day of the 9 steps because it's required by the Constitution. It can't be done in 1 minute. So the 2-day vote-a-rama at which those senators receive the House bill and can amend it by adding or amend it by removing. Here are the 3 examples. They receive the House bill and there's no stimulus checks in there. They can amend by adding. They receive the House bill and it has stimulus checks in there. They can leave it alone. Or number 3, they receive the House bill with stimulus checks in there and they can amend it to do it whatever they want to do with it. And then we're off to the President, step 9. And there you go. Those are the 9 steps across the board. Number 3, let's go over fake narratives. Fake narratives are very important, more so today than I think since last Friday. Fake narratives, what is referred to? It refers to legislators, both Democrats and Republicans, who are trying to use forced stimulus for their own political advantage, not trying to do anything effective. So we've seen a lot of these people who are out the door, 1 foot out the door, and they're trying to use this to anchor something. What are they trying to anchor it for? Either it's a campaign donations for a re-election campaign, or campaign donations to run for a higher office, or trying to get themselves booked as a political analyst on a broadcast channel. Yes, they're actually doing that as well, or for getting a book deal. So It started last Friday when the Democrat out of Arizona was trying to do this by talking to people like Rob Portman, who is really one of the worst GOP members during this entire pandemic. He, like Ron Johnson, wanted to never give you a stimulus check, never wanted to give you FPUC, attacked the American worker in July of 2020 by saying, you're lazy, get back to work in the middle of the pandemic when it was killing Americans and putting them on the street and homeless. So this is a person who is not good with with basic concepts of how to deal with the pandemic. And he's actually retiring. So he's out the door. The concept of any senator retiring is not looked upon favorably by their own party because both parties are trying to hold their position in the Senate or gain seats. And so by him exiting, the GOP certainly doesn't like him because now he's putting his seat at jeopardy being taken by Democrats. But here is what's new today, this Thursday, about fake narratives. Print media, yeah. The print media, there's a series of print media. Some are very conservative, some are very liberal, and then some you just sort of can't tell what they are. But then after you read about 5 or 6 articles over a few months, then you start to realize, oh, you're always sort of going that way, aren't you? And there's one print media, which I'm not going to say who they are, and that they are just like that. You start to read the article, and then you're like, you always sort of go that direction, don't you? I'm starting to get that sense. Well, what is that print media, that print site doing today? And it's a very big one. It's a very big one. What are they doing today? They're trying to ignore what the president said yesterday or 2 days ago, that we're calling the vote this Monday. The president made it very clear, we're calling the vote. I don't want to hear anything else about bipartisan anything come Friday, which is tomorrow. We're calling the vote. What does the article do? What did the series of articles do on that website today? Doesn't even mention the president ever said that. So takes that entire important, I mean, it's a critical ingredient, takes it out, throws it away, and then tries to build up a series of new narratives based upon quotes here and there. And what are the quotes coming from? Pat Toomey, Mitt Romney. So yeah, you see what it's doing. It's trying to ignore the person who is behind the tow truck and driving and ignore what that person has said on the record and try to build up another story, a fake narrative or something else. What you need to do over the next, between now and Monday with me is look really carefully at everything that good Lord, look at every word that Chuck Schumer says. Look at every word that Chuck Schumer says or doesn't say, which is just as important. And then also look and see what the president's staffers are saying as well, because they're very on point at the moment. We're going right to recon. We're calling the vote. And there we go. Finally, purple power. You need to push. You need to push. Go on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit. Tag your Democratic House members, your Democratic senators, especially the progressives. If you want to be very diligent, pull up the names of the progressive Democratic caucus heads, the chair heads, the vice chair heads, and tag them. They are the people who are fighting for the provisions you want. So you need to tag them. Share these videos. Hashtag MSC, hashtag Purple Power. Don't have a computer, don't know how to tag, don't use social media, old-fashioned way. Pick up the phone, be respectful, call their Washington, D.C. offices, talk to their staffer, talk to their legislative staffer, and express your opinion professionally. Always insert why something's important. Why should you have a stimulus check? Remember, the narrative from you is critical. I can't deliver that. I can't explain your situation because there's so many of you. Everyone has a different narrative, and it's important to explain to them why you need a stimulus check, why this relief is needed, that the economy is not fully rebounded, unemployment numbers are going up, that you are still unemployed, that you're still carrying debt. Explain the situation and push purple power. And with that, stay here because coming up next is Evenings LA. Stay with this video and it'll automatically take you to that big show, and boy, it's going to be a big show tonight. But first, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button right under this video right now and be part of the fastest growing community on YouTube, the biggest and most comprehensive financial news channel 24 hours a day. Like this video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and have a beautiful afternoon. I'll see you in a little bit on Evenings LALATE.